All right, so imagine this. You're standing on the side of a quiet country road in South Carolina. There's fog in the trees, the air's heavy, and suddenly a man comes stumbling out of his Mercedes SUV, bleeding from the head, telling you he just got shot in the face. You rush to help. The police show up. Everyone's in a panic. But this isn't just some random guy. This is Alex Murdaugh, a well-known attorney from one of the most powerful legal families the South has ever seen. And that roadside ambush? Oh, that's just the beginning. Because this one man is about to take down an entire legacy with secrets so deep, even the coroner probably needed therapy. But what if I told you the shooting was just one thread in a web of lies that involved missing millions, dead family members, fake alibis, and an elite Southern dynasty slowly eating itself alive from the inside? Yeah, buckle in. So here's the setup. The Murdaughs? These dudes ran the legal scene in Hampton County, South Carolina for almost a century. That's not an exaggeration. 3 generations of Murdaugh men served as solicitors, the equivalent of district attorneys, for over 80 years. They didn't just work in the justice system. They were the justice system. Judges knew them, cops feared them. Everyone in town either owed them a favor or was praying not to end up on their bad side. Alex himself, born into privilege, private schools, law school, and straight into the family business at Peters, Murdaugh, Parker, Eltsroth, and Detrick. One of those law firm names that sounds like it owns half the courthouse and the other half of your granddaddy's land. He's married to Maggie, they've got 2 sons, Buster and Paul, and from the outside, they're Southern royalty. But from the inside, this family's been rotting for years, and the cracks start showing way before Alex's so-called assassination attempt. See, in 2019, things start to unravel with Paul, Alex's youngest. Paul was the wild child, privileged, cocky, and 100% allergic to consequences. One night in February, Paul is drunk again and decides to take his family's boat out with 5 friends, including his girlfriend. And Paul is absolutely hammered. I mean, we're talking shirtless, yelling, smashing beer cans drunk. Witnesses said he'd turn into an alter ego when wasted, calling himself Timmy. Like Paul was gone and Timmy took the wheel. Literally. They crash the boat. It slams into a bridge piling near Archer's Creek. Everyone gets tossed. One of the passengers, Mallory Beach, goes missing in the water. Her body's found a week later. She's 19, and the entire town holds its breath because Paul Murdaugh was driving that boat, and everyone knows it. But no surprise here, the investigation drags. Witnesses say law enforcement tried to steer blame away from Paul. Reports disappear. Body cam footage shows Paul laughing at the hospital. And despite multiple survivors pointing to him as the driver, he walks free on bond for over a year. But karma? Yeah, she waits, and she collects. Fast forward to June 7th, 2021. Alex calls 911. He says he just got home to find his wife, Maggie, and son Paul dead, both shot multiple times near the dog kennels on their massive hunting estate in Islandton, South Carolina. And I mean, this isn't just a crime scene, it's a massacre. 2 members of a prominent legal family gunned down in cold blood, and nobody knows why, or at least that's the story. But almost immediately, something feels off. Alex tells police he was visiting his sick mother at the time of the shootings, but cell phone data doesn't quite back that up. There's a gap. He also says he discovered their bodies and frantically called 911, but his voice sounds rehearsed. You can hear the panic, but it feels like someone trying to sound panicked. Investigators comb the scene, no murder weapon, no fingerprints, and most people are thinking, wait, is this some kind of revenge hit? Maybe someone connected to the Mallory Beach case is getting payback? Because Paul was set to go to trial just weeks later. Or is it a burglary gone wrong? Or could it be something darker? And then, boom, 3 months later, another twist. Alex Murdaugh is shot in the head while changing a tire on the side of a rural road. He survives. Barely. But then he drops a bombshell. It was a setup. A man tried to execute him, and the motive? He says he hired the guy himself to off him so his surviving son Buster could collect a $10 million life insurance payout. Let that sink in. A powerful attorney fakes his own death to scam an insurance company after his wife and son are mysteriously shot to death. And we're not even halfway through this rabbit hole. Because the real story? It goes even deeper. And trust me, you're gonna want to know what happens next. real quick, if you like this story so far, go ahead and like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next on Talescape. All right, back to it. So let's backtrack for a second. Alex Murdaugh just told investigators that he literally hired a guy to shoot him in the head so his only surviving son could collect life insurance money. And who's the trigger man, you ask? Enter Curtis Edward Smith, a former client, distant cousin, and Alex's personal errand guy. Also, totally not sketchy at all. This same Curtis dude had been cashing checks from Alex for years, and I'm not talking one or two here and there. We're talking about over $2 million in checks. Most of it? Poof, gone. Straight into what Alex later admitted was a 20-year opioid addiction. So now investigators are thinking, okay, so this guy fakes his own assassination right after his wife and son were gunned down. And now there's a money trail that leads through some dusty backroads, a pill addiction, and years of shady financial schemes. But that's just the outer layer. Because when law enforcement starts peeling this onion back, it stinks. Let's talk about the money. Turns out Alex Murdaugh had been stealing from his family's law firm clients and just about anyone with a pulse and a settlement check. His specialty? Wrongful death suits, especially for people who couldn't afford to fight back. And the most twisted example? That would be Gloria Satterfield, the Murdaugh family's longtime housekeeper. She had worked for them for decades until one day in 2018, she fell on the steps at their Moselle estate and later died in the hospital. No autopsy, no investigation, and the cause of death? Changed on the death certificate, twice. But here's where it gets real cold. Alex convinces Gloria's sons to sue him for wrongful death so they can collect insurance money, and then pockets the $4.3 million settlement without ever telling them. Let that marinate. He stole millions from his dead housekeeper's grieving family and told no one. If that doesn't make your spine shiver, check your pulse. Once that detail hits the news, the floodgates open. The law firm kicks Alex to the curb, lawsuits pile up, and everyone he's ever handled money for starts asking the same question. Wait a second, where's my money? Turns out, this guy was bleeding accounts dry for years, and no one noticed. Or maybe, no one wanted to notice, because the Murdaugh name was sacred in Hampton County. That name walked into courtrooms like it owned the walls. But now, it was radioactive. Meanwhile, investigators were still picking apart the murders of Maggie and Paul. And here's where the forensic detail gets wild. Paul's phone is found near his body, and eventually the FBI cracks it open. Inside, a video Paul had recorded just minutes before he was shot, taken near the dog kennels. You can hear his mom, Maggie. You can hear the dogs. But here's the twist. You can also hear Alex Murdaugh's voice in the background. Remember, Alex told police he wasn't there, that he was visiting his mom. But this video puts him at the scene of the crime, right before the time of death. It's the digital version of being caught red-handed, except the hand's holding a phone instead of a gun. So now the walls are closing in. He's already admitted to staging his own shooting. He's facing dozens of charges for financial fraud. He's under investigation for multiple deaths. And now, for the first time, law enforcement publicly hints Alex Murdaugh is officially a suspect in the murders of his wife and son. And still, he's not done spinning. From behind bars, he denies everything, says he loved his family, claims he would never hurt Maggie or Paul, blames his drug addiction for the money issues, says the real killers are still out there. And for months, he plays the victim. But the evidence? It's stacking. And by the time the murder trial begins, the truth is about to get exposed in broad daylight. And if you thought this story was already insane, you haven't even heard what went down in that courtroom. All right, so the courtroom is packed, media is swarming, and the Murdaugh name is now synonymous with corruption, deception, and, well, straight up betrayal. When the trial kicks off in January 2023, the entire country's watching like it's the final season of some twisted legal drama. And right in the middle, Alex Murdaugh, former legal dynasty prince, now looking like a haunted man facing the music. The prosecution rolls in with a mountain of evidence. Remember Paul's video from the dog kennels? That one piece of footage blows Alex's alibi out of the water. Forensic experts testified that the timestamps line up exactly with the window in which Maggie and Paul were gunned down. That video becomes the cornerstone of the state's case. They basically say, this man told the world he wasn't there, but guess what? His own son filmed him minutes before he died. Now let's talk murder weapons. Here's the thing. There were 2 different guns used in the killings. One for Maggie, one for Paul. And get this, both were types of firearms the Murdaughs owned. The family's cache of weapons was extensive. Hunting rifles, shotguns, you name it. But somehow the specific ones used? Gone. Never found. Suspicious? Just a bit. But Alex's defense team? They're playing hardball too. Their entire angle is that Alex had no motive. Why would a father destroy what's left of his own family? They argue it doesn't make sense. They say he loved his wife and son, that he was a broken man who got caught up in bad choices and worse addiction, but never violent, never that evil. Except motive did exist. A big one. See, the murders happened right as everything was unraveling. Paul's boat crash case was heating up. The financial fraud was on the verge of going public. And there's one theory that prosecutors hammer home. Alex killed Maggie and Paul to distract from his crimes, to gain sympathy, to reset the narrative. Basically, if I'm the grieving husband and father, nobody's looking at the books. And then came the biggest mic drop of all. Alex takes the stand. Yep, in a move that stunned everyone, he walks up, hand raised, and testifies in his own defense. And for hours, he talks, admits to the lies, admits to stealing, admits to staging the fake roadside shooting, admits to being at the kennels minutes before the murders. But when it comes to Maggie and Paul, he swears up and down he didn't do it. Tears streaming, voice cracking, saying he would never. But here's what people noticed. No real explanation for why he lied to investigators. No solid defense against the timeline. And under cross-examination, he crumbled. Couldn't keep the story straight. The jury, watching every flinch, every hesitation. It wasn't just about the evidence, it was the vibe. And Alex was giving off main character energy in the worst way possible. After 6 weeks of testimony, the jury deliberates for less than 3 hours. Just like that, guilty on all counts. 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of possession of a weapon during a violent crime. Sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms. No parole, no appeal that'll save him. The courtroom goes still. Maggie's family cries, Paul's friends cry. And Alex? He just stares forward like a man who finally ran out of lies. But even after the conviction, the fallout keeps spreading. Investigators start reopening other cases tied to the Murdaugh orbit, like Stephen Smith, a classmate of Buster Murdaugh, found dead on a rural road under mysterious circumstances, or Mallory Beach, the 19-year-old girl who died in the boat crash Paul caused. And people start asking, was this all just a piece of something way darker? Because this wasn't just about one man snapping. This was about power. Generational influence, a system that let a guy like Alex Murdaugh operate unchecked for decades, and when it finally came crashing down, it took lives, families, and a whole community with it. So yeah, he faked his own death. But in the end, Alex Murdaugh buried himself. And justice? Well, it finally showed up. Just about 100 years too late. That's the story. Now I want to hear what you think. Drop a comment below, let's talk about it. And if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.